up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two for Two, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voice of the culture. I'm your host, Quis. I'm here as always, my brother Nell. We back on the pod today, man. Got another episode for you guys. It's season 3, episode 84. Let's hop right into it. Nell, what's good?
Going on, man? How's everything?
It's cool, man. Spring break right now for the job, so it's pretty light. March Madness is here. Um, NFL free agency is kind of the big moves have kind of happened so far. So, a lot of things are going on in the sports world. So, it's cool. I'm good. I'm great. Can't complain.
Love to hear that for you, man.
Absolutely. We're gonna jump right into this thing, man. We had talked for a long time during the NFL season about what was gonna go on with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. The Bengals had they said they were gonna franchise tag him. That was the whole thing, and then boom, they get the deal done. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins back. They finally get paid. At this point, right? So that's their offensive core. You got Burrow, you got Chase, you got Higgins. What do the Bengals need to do now to put themselves in actual contention to win the AFC again?
Obviously, they gotta work on that defense. Obviously, great thing that they brought back Chase and Higgins. Giving out that kind of money. I mean, it just seems like it's got to get used to it in the NFL now. These guys are just gonna keep, resetting the market again and again. So the Bengals did what they had to do to keep their franchise quarterback happy, but it was a 9-8 team, and the offense wasn't too much of the issue here. Defensively, they had problems. They didn't run the ball as well, but Chase Brown and I forgot who else they had in there kind of picked up the slack a little bit, but terrible against the run. So those are kind of things that they still need to work on. Uh, you know, Got to see if they bring back Hendrickson, their leading sack guy. So that's still a question mark out there for this team. And yeah, so they obviously money's tight when you pay your top 2 receivers that kind of money. So they're gonna have to knock it out the park in the draft this year. And I was reading earlier, they got the smallest scouting department in the NFL. So they've got their work cut out for them this season, and they're gonna have to hit some home runs in the draft defensively to help this ball club out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be all defense. I'd be surprised if it wasn't majority defense, right? At least 80% in the draft. You mentioned Trey Hendrickson. They were trying to trade him. They're asking people for a first round pick for him. They're trying to get that, and the market just wasn't there. And now they're at the point where they got to bring him back. And honestly, in my opinion, that's a blessing in disguise for the Bengals, right? If they get to the point where they can strike a deal with Hendrickson to keep him there, that helps your defense tremendously. At the end of the day, I understand why you want to make sure you pay Jamar Chase. I even understand, wanting to keep Higgins. That 1-2 on the outside with Joe Burrow. We know how explosive that offense is, but we also saw how much pressure they put on that defense to perform last season, and it was, or how much pressure the defense put on that group to perform because defensively they just weren't there, right? And you think about the AFC and the offenses that you're going to have to face, the quarterbacks you're going to have to face. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to think that you can say, hey, we can score points. We can score points with anybody. But it feels a little bit better when you can stop somebody too. And right now, they're not stopping the nosebleed. So hey, draft time, you might can find some guys. I didn't know that thing about them having the smallest scouting department. I think that's kind of hilarious. I mean, I guess they did something right with Chase and Higgins and Burrow. I mean, those ones kind of fell into their lap, but yeah, I mean, good for Joe Burrow, right? Make your quarterback happy. Good for Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I
I
think
mean,
they both got 100 plus mil. What was
yeah,
Chase like 150 or something, and then I think Higgins like
160, I
114,
think maybe.
160. Like, hey,
I mean, they're gonna put up numbers next year as
bag.
long as they stay healthy. They're certainly gonna put up numbers. So it'll be a fun offense to watch. But will they win enough games to get in the postseason this time? Uh, it'll be all up to that defense if they can generate some stops for them.
Yeah, they'll need it. I'm sure they're of the mindset that like, hey, like down the stretch, we kind of did pretty well as is. We get these guys back and we see what we can do. Who knows? It's the
Yeah, it might.
NFL.
It also might help if they could win some games in September.
Right, in the beginning of the season, yeah, that'd be great. They want to try. They do this every year almost, right? Like they get hot at the end, and it becomes a numbers game at that point. So, hey, wishing them luck. Them Bengals. We always talked about it prior to. I mean, I guess Jalen Hurts and the Eagles taking down Pat Mahomes. We always talk about how Joe Burrow. He's that one guy in the AFC that we've seen. Get it done. So, we'll have to wait and see again. But shout out to the Bengals getting their guys signed. For those brothers. But man, we talked about it or touched on it earlier, man. It's March Madness time. It's March Madness. It's all basketball, college basketball. We got the women's side is great. The men's side is great. Nell is interested right now because his Duke Blue Devils are looking great. But what about that team, that rival of yours, man? North Carolina Tar Heels snuck into the tournament. Man, they are a play-in team. The people are in an uproar now. The people are There's a lot of people that don't like this. So, what are your thoughts on them getting into the tournament? Do you think they deserved it? And do you see them doing anything with that bid?
I wouldn't be surprised if they I forgot who their first round opponent would be. It wouldn't be a
But
surprise if they do uh if they win that first four game and get it in. I wouldn't be surprised if they won a game. But as far as them getting in, I mean, I can understand the outrage for teams like West Virginia and Indiana. But I mean, look, I'm not upset at it. It's one of the big blues,
yeah,
blue buds,
yeah,
man. Like
I'm
they
right
gonna
with
get
you.
they gonna get the edge.
I'm with you. That they got that
And they were
money.
like, I saw they were like in like 10 of the metrics that they used, 10 out of the 23 metrics, they were like tops in. So I
Hmm.
mean, whatever metrics they use to get in there, whether we agree with them or not, they had them highly ranked, regardless of, them only having what was it like 1 in 12 and
One,
like quadrant one
yeah,
wins. So I mean, I'm not upset at it,
yeah. It's it's like you
but I
said,
can
man.
understand
It's
the outrage.
yeah, like yeah. You When you're one of those other teams, you're looking at it and you're like, I mean, it's kind of one of those things of if we can't get in and they can get in, like this under these circumstances with this resume, like what does this say and what precedent does this set down the line? Like a lot of people were arguing about teams that didn't get in 3, 4 years ago with similar resumes, and then you see UNC get in. But like you said, man, they're a blue blood program, right? Like I think a lot of people were upset because I think somebody on the committee is like the AD at UNC and hey,
Yep.
conflict of interest, but I mean he on
And
there, right?
he gets a bonus if they
Yeah, he
make it to
get
the
paid.
tournament.
Hey,
So
he in there lobbying for himself, man, for his program. What you want him to do? You also know how much money will be, generated from this UNC program, right? Their fans are going to travel. Their people are going to watch them play, and even more now than before. I mean, you're really going to watch them now because you're like, well, let's see if they really, really deserve it. Now they got a first 4 game. They go out there, they lay an egg. We'll be hearing about this for another 2 weeks. You might not even hear about the rest of the tournament. But at the end of the day, I mean, they were 1-12 in quad one. Quads 2, 3, and 4, they only had one loss. So like you said, there's a lot of measures that go into this, right? The net rating, the Ken Palm ranking, a lot of different things that a lot of people don't really read into, right? A lot of people don't even really know what these metrics are for, but they've built these metrics to decide, how strong these teams are, right? Strength of schedule, strength of record, strength of opponent, like all those things go into it. And the ACC had a really down season, right? But UNC managed to do enough metrically, right? Some people are numbers people. Some people are eye test people. I take it like this. At the end of the day, eye test. Do I think West Virginia is better than UNC? Still probably not. Do I think Indiana is better than UNC this year? No. Love Mike Woodson. He's
I
getting
think West
fired.
Virginia's
He's
best
getting
player is
fired.
out.
Yes. I mean, you're right. And I mean, you know how that whole thing goes. But yes, I mean, the committee's not going to do that, right? Like right now, as is, are you one of the best teams? Are you better than this team? No. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I think I agree with you. Though. I think USC can win a game. I think if they win tonight, I'm not sure. I keep blanking on who they play. But they would go on. I think they play San Diego State. That's it. Or maybe they play San Diego State tonight. They play San Diego State tonight, and then if they win, they would go on and play. Let me look. I got the bracket up right here. Here it
Let's
is.
say I was about to look at
I
it.
got you.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
play
So they
San
play San
Diego
Diego
State.
State, and then they would play the. I think they would play the Ole Miss. I think. Pretty sure it's Ole Miss. Which, if I'm honest, San Diego State or UNC both could beat Ole Miss. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So you never know, right? And then on top of that, they got RJ Davis. They got these big name guys as well. You think I was talking to somebody earlier about the women's tournament and how I feel like there's so many more like standalone names, right? Like we know the ladies that are over there holding down those teams holding it down. The men's side, I feel like, they're fighting to push guys to the forefront, right? We know Cooper Flag, most people know Janai Broom, but outside of that, like how many guys can the average fan just rattle off as far as like stars of men's college basketball right now? So you get somebody notable as well. It kind of just all plays into it. But end of the day, the brand is the brand. Brand is the brand. And that Jumpman logo
Gotta respect it.
come with a lot. So hey, hopefully for UNC's sake, they don't lay an egg. Hopefully they can get in a surprise. Maybe they can make a run from that, from that first four in. We've seen that happen a couple times. So you
I
never
don't know
know.
about a run, but like I said, they can get a game. I don't know about a run.
Anything goes. Anything
That is
happen in
true.
March. Anything happen. March Madness for a reason. But speaking of teams in the tournament, give me your biggest sleepers. And when I say sleepers, I mean somebody that you legitimately think can make a run, not just win a game. And
Tough this year.
I feel like this year college basketball has evened out quite a bit, right? At least after the drop off of the top teams, the Dukes, the Auburns, Houston's of the world, like those are the teams that we all know about. And I feel like under that is a lot of a matchups. That's what March is about. So I got a great list.
Let me hear your list first. You
Headlined
the
by none
basketball savant.
headlined by none other than the University of Michigan Wolverines. Biggest
I,
sleeper going into the whoa.
I guess I should
Listen,
have known.
listen. That's one team, but I have good reason. Coming off a Big Ten tournament championship, right? We always talk about teams that are hot. Michigan had a really, really good run this season where they were at one point in time, I think we went from unranked to like top 12. I think I can say. We had some losses, tough, close losses. We had some losses in conference play. But I feel like when you think of sleeper teams, like those teams that can really play with anybody, those teams that give mismatch problems, right? Michigan has 2 7-footers. That's something that in an NCAA tournament, where you got one night, maybe 2 nights to prepare, it's not very easy to prepare for 2 7-footers, especially one that handles the basketball. I think Michigan's biggest problem is they turn the ball over a lot. But hey, you take into account another thing that I like to look at when I look at March, coaching. Dusty May and Florida Atlantic, they just made a run. He's been there before. He knows how to do it. So I got Michigan sleeper, right? I think we're 5 seed. We're the oddly enough, I feel like we're the most popular upset pick right now. A lot of people like that UC San Diego 12 seed win over Michigan, but Michigan wins. They get a chance to maybe take on a Texas A&M team that I think Michigan can beat. Now we up there with Auburn, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, yeah. So, we'll see. But Michigan's on my list. All right. Another team I got on my list is Louisville. I was surprised. Louisville's ranked 8. Now I said the ACC was pretty weak this season. I agree, but I feel like they're pretty underseeded, right? I feel like this is not an 8 seed squad. I feel like they played in some good games. They've won. They won a nice run to the ACC championship. It sucks. Creighton's gonna be a tough out, but I mean, hey, matchup wise, I think if anybody gonna make it, gonna have a shot at it from that 8 spot, I like Louisville. Then I got 3 more on the rattle off for you. And I got one more team that I think can win a game. I said not a team that can win a game, but I got Vanderbilt as a sleeper team because I think they can win a couple
I
games.
like that.
SEC team, right? The SEC is probably the best conference in basketball this year, in college basketball this year. Vandy, a team that they played top team in the SEC, they've beaten them. They've won games against really high caliber teams. The coach over there, former JMU coach, head coach. So I like what he does. So that's a sleeper. That's my real sneaky sleeper. Um, then I got McNeese with Will Wade coaching them. That team is very tough, very physical, a hard team that people are gonna have to be prepared for and play. My VCU boys out of Richmond, best team in the
Still
A10
one,
all year.
still one of my
Best team in the A10
squads.
all year. VCU they're known for making that magic. Their coach is being talked about as getting a big high major job. They got a lot of guys over there that are high major players, and they built through the portal, right? You think about in March those teams that are not overly youthful, that have guys that have won games. And then my last one, man, it's not really a sleeper because they had 2 seed, but the Godfather is back. St. John's and Rick Pitino, I think, have a legitimate shot to actually win the national championship. And they're the one team on this that I think could legitimately win a national championship. I like their guys over there. My boy Luis Jr., dog. They got that tough that tough Patino mentality where they fight and they get after it. And I think in March, man, they're gonna punk some teams. They're gonna win some games just off straight up punking some teams. So that's what I got for you, man. That's what I got. I'm rocking with those boys.
Okay, I like those. VCU was definitely one of my squads. I like Texas. Texas got
Okay.
some.
Hey, they got a bucket getter.
They got a true bucket in Trey Johnson. They got a ton of talent on that team. So at March, sometimes that talent can just take over. So who knows? We'll see. Like I said, VCU is one of my teams, one of the best defensive teams in college basketball. Like you said, always a team that seems to spark some Cinderella magic. Here when we get to March, Georgia's an interesting team. Part of me feels like UConn can make a run. I know they've had
I fought it. I fought it.
a real struggle this year, especially defensively, but heart of a champion. Uh, you know, Hurley's gonna be fired up. I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if they make a deep run. And then I think Clemson's got a chance to make a run. They've got a high powered offense. I think they're in a region that they can make some noise in. That's what I'm thinking about so far.
Are any of those teams gonna win a championship?
I don't think so because
You
Duke
feel
is
like this is
here.
like a you feel like
This
this is
ain't
like
this ain't this
a
ain't a year
chalk
for a
year
sleeper
because
because
who's there?
Duke's in the tournament and we planting the flag this year.
Is he playing? I think I heard something that he's already back practicing.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah,
As long as we got
yeah.
him for the second game, we're good.
I don't think you need him. I actually really like the Duke roster this year. I mean, you need
Don't
him,
need
but
him to win a championship, or don't need him for
you need him. But like I'm saying, y'all are really good even without him. Is what I'm saying. Okay,
we can win a game
y'all.
or two without him.
I would hope y'all can get more than 2 games without him. This is
You never know,
Duke,
man.
the biggest blue blood,
Exactly.
right? Right? No,
I think so.
I'm a Tar Heel guy myself. Yeah, couldn't. I didn't really like the color blue that y'all chose. UNC has the superior blue. Carolina blue
Debatable.
is my favorite color, but I got Duke blue on right now because I'm hating. You see how I do that? Reverse jinx.
I like all the blues. Kentucky, Kansas, but
What do you
Duke,
think about Kansas this year? They're 7 seed. It doesn't seem right.
another team
I know
that's
their problem.
got a ton of talent, but just hasn't been able to put it all together.
That
Yeah,
Hunter Dickinson guy. It's hard. It's when you have a big that's that demanding of like touches and space, but he's slow. And like I like Hunter Dickinson, former Michigan great. I won't
I kind of
downplay.
understand where you're coming from.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard in college basketball because it's like
Started in the
you not
NBA
really have
too.
the. I wasn't gonna say it. Gotta get you a Carl Anthony Towns that can stretch the floor, man. Put on the ball on the ground.
Yeah,
No,
whatever.
we won't do that to you. Who you got coming out of these regions, man? Let me hear your final four. Your the four teams that you like to come out the East, Midwest, West, and the South. Your Duke boys out East, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
pencil
so
that one in for you.
you
Yeah, I'm
already
gonna
know
pencil
we
that one.
taking Duke out east.
Okay.
They'll take out I think Bama's in that region, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Midwest,
You see a Bama Duke Elite Eight.
I think so.
All right, don't sleep, Vandy. All right, go ahead.
Midwest, I'm going Clemson. Going with Clemson. I just have a feeling. Look, yeah, I'm not picking all number one seeds.
I mean,
Houston
no, you
won't.
shouldn't.
Houston won't get there, so I'm gonna rock with Clemson.
Okay. Who's Clemson beating? Did you get that far? You don't like
No,
Tennessee?
nah.
The Vols. Okay.
They'll win a couple games, but I think it'll fizzle out.
All right. We gotta make brackets and publish them. We gotta put them on the page.
We should. I
Yeah, let's
haven't
do
made a
that.
bracket in a long time. It's a lot of work.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
South, I'm gonna go Auburn.
There.
Seems like seems like the right pick. And then lastly, I'm gonna go Florida. Didn't want to, but
You
it's
hating
kind
on
of
them.
hard to pick against them right now.
They are they're a really good team. I don't really watch them a ton. Like I mean, I've watched their last few games. It's nothing really special about them, but they win games. You know, they're a really good cohesive unit. Um, so we got two of the same predictions, right? I got Duke out of the East. Fine with that. I like Auburn make it out the South, even though my Michigan boys gonna give them a fight. We get there. Midwest. Now I went with a blue blood. Um,
Mm,
with a new
interesting.
coach. I went with the Kentucky Wildcats
I thought about
because
that. I thought about it.
because I like that team's composition, right? They shoot the ball really well. They have a go-to scorer and they have really good coaching. I feel like in
Don't they
March
still got some
again,
injuries?
that I don't know. So if they do, I might be wrong. But I think they have most of their guys available. So I'm rocking with Kentucky. Um, I also kind of think that Midwest region is a little wonky. You know, I don't love Houston either, right? Something about Houston, they just never really get over the hump. Um, and then I never believe in Tennessee in March, never. And then lastly, St. John's. I mean, I just said it. I wasn't joking. You
If
know,
Tobias
that's
Harris went to your school, I ain't trusting you in big moments. If you producing Tobias Harris's,
touche, touche. Okay.
keep it.
So is it safe to assume that Duke is your presumed champion?
Yeah. As long as flag is good to go, we planting it, baby. And we cutting down the nets.
I'm taking Duke too. I like Duke as well to get out of this one. What about
God's like, here, take something. It's
hey
like,
hey
thanks.
If Duke wins a natty and then y'all get Cooper Flag, that would be a great end to this story for you.
Last time we won the natty, we got Jalil Okafor.
He wasn't bad. Isn't he back in the league now?
I think he signed somewhere.
Yeah,
But
he was on the
yeah.
Pacers. I thought he was on the Pacers for like a 10 day. All right,
So hopefully we can make that happen.
we didn't get into the women's bracket, but who's your
Mm,
favorite out there? Who's your favorite? Because we know there's a lot of teams, right? You got South Carolina, you got UCLA, you got USC, you got Notre Dame, you got NC State. Texas is a 1 seed this year. A lot of people are a little upset about that one. UConn is still there, right? Like, like you don't even got to give me a Final
I look at
Four.
this bracket.
I think it's fun. I feel like the committee when it comes to the women's side, I feel like they really hunt matchups, man. Like they,
UConn and USC in the same
yeah, you know what
region.
I'm saying. Like that's
Need
gonna be
that.
an Elite Eight game. Elite Eight game. I'd rather see that in the Final Four. But then they got some sleepers in there.
Uh,
They got Kentucky in there. You know, they got. I mean, shoot, UCLA's bracket got NC State,
Ohio
LSU,
State's
and
an
Baylor.
interesting team.
I didn't watch much of them this year. I'll be honest. I'm just calling. I'm gonna be real. I'm going with Auntie Don again, per usual. You know, nothing to
Doesn't
see
hurt.
here. The commercial that I sent you yesterday that really won me over. You know, I feel like you can't produce that and then not. You know what I'm saying?
I wish I could pick USC,
I would love to as well.
but that
You don't trust?
offense, a half court offense, can get a little nasty
It can.
when you need it to the most. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess why not go with South Carolina?
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all, MEAC upset. Norfolk State over Maryland. Now we watched Maryland play. I've
We
also
did.
watched Norfolk
Good
State
team.
play. Don't be surprised if Norfolk State women's team beats Maryland
Okay.
in that
I'll
first
keep my
round.
I'll keep my eyes locked in on that one.
Hey, you gotta watch it. Norfolk State, they got dogs over there. Girl named Diamond. She used to play for NC State. Crazy. That's my upset for y'all on the women's side. I'm just letting y'all know. MEAC pride.
South Carolina and Duke be a good Elite Eight matchup.
Hey, them Duke girls different. They've returned to the glory. I like them. I like them a lot. I like that team. I feel like UConn might make a
Yeah,
run this year. It
I'm
might be
excited,
a
man.
UConn South Carolina. It might be a UConn South Carolina final, man.
Nah, Juju got to get her get back. We need that.
I mean, must see TV all around. The women, like I'm telling y'all, the women's tournament might be more fun to watch on a nightly basis, but the men's bracket will probably have the most like crazy stuff happening because I feel like a lot of teams are really really even.
I try to really be locked in on March Madness this year.
Hey man, we got a first four game at 640. You know, two 16 seeds fighting to take their take their talents to take one seed. Do you see any of those this year? You see any 16 wins,
Nah,
any 15s winning?
nah,
Not this year.
nah. Maybe a 14,
14? Let me look at the 14s real quick.
maybe.
Let me see what I see. 14s. Troy, Wilmington, Montana, Lipscomb. Nah, I don't see that either.
Nah.
Nah.
All
Nah.
right. Well, we'll probably get a 13. We'll for sure get an 11.
Arkansas and Kansas. Arkansas being a 10 is kind of funny. Arkansas,
Put
Kansas,
some money on High
Calipari versus
Point.
Bill Self. High Point, you don't know about them boys.
That's why you
You ain't
put
even
some
heard
money
of High
on them.
Point. I mean, we getting a 12. I'm telling you. You like Clemson. I like McNeese.
Yale
I'm
can
telling
win
you.
too.
Yale's a good squad. They don't got Danny Wolf no more though. He plays for my team. It's gonna be interesting. I heard Liberty has a interesting little mob too.
I have
Talk about 12 seeds.
heard a lot about Liberty in the
Yeah, they got
upset
a
talks.
yeah, they got a little mob over there. So hey man, we'll see. It's here. March is here. March is crazy. We love March Madness. You got I don't know how I'm gonna work this week because you got games starting on Thursday as early as 12 o'clock. So I'll
And
have
like
that
them days
laptop
of
up.
being in high school on a phone,
Hey, in class not
all the
paying attention
games
at
loading
all.
up.
Ain't paying attention at all, man. It's gonna
Good
be great,
times.
man. Favorite time of the year, March Madness, one of the most fun, exhilarating sporting events in all of sports, regardless of country. So everybody will be tapped into that, man. Like I said, me and Nell, we're gonna drop the
Guarantee
bracket.
shockers.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
something's gonna happen. I'll say two. I don't love Michigan State because I'm a Michigan fan, but I do think that team has some good potential this tournament as well. I think this is one of Izzo's best teams in a while. So just throw that
I
out
agree
there.
with you on that for sure.
Yeah.
It's
But
been
like
a
I
while
said,
since Michigan State has been looked at as a contender.
yeah. So is it college basketball's better when they up there? Same as Duke and all those other teams. So we'll see. But I feel like this year, the top teams in the country have been the top teams all year, right? The Auburns, the Dukes, Houston, Florida. Those teams we've been hearing about them all year. Most people have that four in a quadrant by itself. But in March, man, anything goes. Me and Nell, we're gonna make our brackets. We're gonna try to at least put something up there so y'all can see it. Tap in with us and tell us how egregious y'all think some of our picks are. Maybe I don't know. We want to see y'all's brackets as well. Send them in. I'm down to look at them. Um, yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. You got anything for us now before you hop off this thing?
Go Duke.
Hey, Duke, he's all in on Duke. So if and when Duke loses, everybody direct your responses and remarks to Nell,
Yeah,
not
I
to
can
me.
keep them.
Nell said, if Duke is upset, I'm done with sports. Hey, man, it'll be cool. But with that, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Two for Two, man. It's season 3, episode 84. Like I said, March Madness is here, and we're excited. So tap in with us. Continue to show love on all of the platforms that we got for you, man. Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Twitter, TikTok, everything. Tap in with our individual pages as well, on Instagram, and we'll be there. As always, we appreciate y'all. Two for Two, Quis and Nell. We out.